this on me because I'm a drinker. They don't like me anymore. But that's okay because my daddy's in prison and my mama is well, you know what she does. It's just another day at my family reunion at the Blakely Trailer Park. My great aunts and uncles are going to be there. Hey boy, get over here and pull my finger.
Willie's running around in his skivvies while Mama's cousin Tammy's drilling Willie on her fat. Great Aunt Ruby's sprawled out on the kitchen table getting Alan Jackson tattooed on her back. Cousin Clem's in there watching NASCAR. Him and Uncle Lisa's eating good and by the fat. I can't even stand up on my own. Older family is gone.
We got hot dogs and hamburgers too. But don't eat the chili, cause you know what it'll do.
Cause there ain't no telling what Aunt Rhonda put in it.
Probably a weasel or
Badger,
something. Big old possum.
big old spider,
dirt squirrel.
probably whatever she can find.
Cause it's another day at my family reunion at the Blakely Trailer Park.
My entire dang family is going to be there, and it's about to start.
This is the Seth and Willie Fred Street Show.
My son Seth and Willie Fred. They come from Blakely Trail Park, Georgia.
Hey, get over here. Pull my finger.
What?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second 2020 vice presidential debate. We are your moderators here tonight. I am Willie Fred.
And I am Seth. Wait, could you hear me? I'm Seth.
Thank you. Speak into the microphone so they can hear you.
Gotcha.
Tonight is brought to you by the National Blakely Trailer Park Commission for Presidential Debates and Child Services Program. We've taken no corporate beer money tonight to put on this program, but that's not because we didn't want to. They just didn't give us any. So if you're drinking your Steel Reserve there tonight, go ahead and crack it open now. Tonight's debate is going to be split into a few different sections. We'll have the basic Q&A. Me and Seth will be asking questions that we did the bare minimum research to develop, but we'll also have some questions from guest panelists. And then later in the show, if you are in the comments and you'd like to know something, we'll try to get to some of them, but we probably won't. Anyway, so one note about tonight is that we have forcibly taped down the mute button on everybody so it stays unmuted because we're trying to have as much chaos as possible. We want all of them talking all over each other. We want it to turn into a hot dumpster fire. It's what 2020 deserves in a presidential debate, a vice presidential debate, whatever it is, whatever this thing is that we're doing here tonight. That's what we deserve. So we're going to start out with opening statement from each of the candidates.
You get some more of that.
Go ahead and drink some more of this
All
here
right,
Steel
go
Reserve.
check
Up first, we have the current Vice President Pence.
Good evening. Thank you. I'd like to first of all say, well, thank you, Seth, and to Willie Fred for having me on tonight. It is truly my honor not only to be serving as the Vice President of the United States, the second banana to number 45. I'd have it no other way. And, you know, as I crack this Steel Reserve here, I would like to make a toast to both of you gentlemen, as well as to both of my opponents tonight, and especially the one who, well, just plumb didn't show up. I will tell you folks, like I told the people in the comment section that are already watching us this evening, we would not be here tonight debating had our parents decided not to abort us. The fact that they did not cut us off at the pass, sperm met egg, and life was made. And it is a privilege just to be alive. And if we weren't alive, had we been aborted, we wouldn't be here tonight to debate one another. So in 3 seconds, I would like to show every one of you my utmost enthusiasm. I'm going to, you know, a lot of kids like to pump their fists. They used to raise the roof. I will, in 3, 2, 1, in 3 seconds, I will show you my utmost excitement about how I feel tonight. 3, 2, and 1.
Vice President Pence?
Yes, hi.
Okay, excuse me. I thought you fell asleep. I did. Okay.
Oh, that was me. That was me in a state of enthusiasm.
Pure ecstasy. No, wait, no, you don't do that.
Different. No, no, not pure. You got to.
All right, so we'll moving right along to the second contestant. Contestant, is that what you call these? Candidates. Candidates. The second candidate that's here tonight. As Vice President Pence mentioned, Ms. Harris, well, she did not show up here tonight. But
chicken,
well,
bok,
but
bok,
see, the
bok,
thing is,
chicken, bok.
She wrote us a nice letter and said that her record speaks for itself. And then we got a nice little package in the mail. And after the bomb dog sniffed it, we opened it up, and turns out it is just, well, it's her record. So we'll just bring on Miss Harris's record.
Howdy, y'all. As Willie Fred said, I am Kamala Harris's legal records, and I do speak for myself. Kamala Harris, unfortunately, she had more important things to do tonight, like watch paint dry at one of our new correctional facilities. But I just want to talk about my opponents for a minute. Apparently, the one of the candidates I'm going to be debating is the literal personification of a My Little Pony character. And the other one's just a cardboard cutout of an X-Men villain. But I would like to thank Spike Cohen for being here tonight, Libertarian Party's vice presidential candidate. I know he's having to take time out from studying the blade to be here. And it's good that he cleaned up by shaving off his neck beard to come out of his mama's basement just to be here. And what can I say about Mike Pence that hadn't been said about Great Value Bread mayonnaise? But we're just darn excited to be here tonight, and we're gonna lay it on them from Kamala Harris's legal records.
Thank you, Kamala Harris's legal records. Third here tonight, the #1 contender in the vice presidential race so far, according to polling, the one, the only, Flacco Flyson.
Oh, hey there, baby. Sorry, I was munching down on this turd right here, as a fly is wont to do. munching down on this turd. Now, this is one of my own turds that's made from turds that I ate from other animals, such as humans and foxes and whatnot. This is essentially a refried turd I'm sniffing on right here. Anyway, you guys probably know me from the last VP debate where I landed on Mike Pence's head. Well, what you didn't see was that I actually flew out of Kamala Harris's mouth. Rancid in there. It was rancid. It's gross. And I didn't fly up on his head because he smelled like shit or is full of crap like anybody else said. No, 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 no. I landed on Mike Pence's head to get noticed. That's right, to get noticed. I was looking for the whitest, cleanest, brightest surface anybody would notice. And what else? But Mike Pence's full moon head of hair, silver gray fox that man is. I wanted to get noticed because I am revealing myself. I'm coming to you right now from my secret lair. My lair is located inside of a steel reserve can outside of Joe Biden's bunker. I'm waiting for him to die so that I can slowly lay my maggots inside of him and reproduce and grow all over the world. So you notice flies, they swarm around bright lights, around lamps. It's because we're after the light. That's right, you heard me. Mr. Fly, member of the Illuminati secret society, waiting for the downfall of mankind where flies will commence to take over this world as is their rightful place, baby. Thank you.
Dear Lord.
Excellent statement, Mr. Fly.
Okay. Well, fourth tonight, we have the Libertarian Party vice presidential candidate, Mr. Spike Cohen.
Hello, people of Blakely Trailer Park. I am Governor Spike Cohen, and unlike all of the other people here, I am seriously running to be your next vice president. That's right, folks. Mike Pence and Kamala Harris would not invite us to their rigged fake debate, so we refuse to invite them to ours, and that is just very, that's exactly what we intended. Folks, I don't have to tell you that I'm the only real contender here. I don't have to tell you that Mike Pence, you've already forgotten that he was even here. I don't have to tell you that Kamala Harris's record is looking for a way to put you in a cage right now. And I certainly don't have to tell you that Governor Kay Flyvey is in fact some kind of demonic, he something about the Illuminati. What I am here to tell you is that Joe Jorgensen and I are fighting for nothing more and nothing less than setting you free in our time, taking that power and that freedom and that wealth that people like Mike Pence and those sheets of paper and that fly have stolen from you over the past several decades and giving it back to you where it always belonged. That is what I promise you. And by the time this debate is over, not only will you have regretted watching the entire thing, but you will definitely feel much better about the fact that you were voting Libertarian, hopefully.
All right. Well, we'll just get right on into it. Our first round of questions. Seth?
One moment.
He's thirsty.
There's nothing quite like the smooth steel taste of Steel Reserve. No sponsorship.
That's right. We are not sponsored by any beer company.
So in this first round of questions, my first question goes out to Vice President Pence. Pence, you were tasked with heading the Romavirus response team. How is that going?
Well, Seth, first of all, thank you for allowing me to go first. And it's a poignant question. It's important. Only 200,000 people have bitten the dust during this entire coronavirus pandemic that we've experienced. But I'm going to choose to dwell on the positive aspects of this entire thing. And I would tell you, Seth and Willie Fred, and to the American people that, we're spending a lot more time at home. We are making these silly little TikTok videos. We are visiting our grandparents, albeit keeping our distance. But whereas before you longed to stay away from certain relatives, now you find yourself, well, kind of missing them. We are spending a lot more times outdoors. People are learning to barbecue, which is so uniquely American. And thus far, we would have 7 million. 7 million would have bitten the dust. For 40.
Vice President Pence.
We are, yes.
We lost you there for a second.
Oh, that's too bad. I was starting to get excited.
We could tell you were really fired up there.
Oh, yeah. So, yes, as I was saying, my boy, number 45 is what I like to call him. He cut off travel to China, and from China to here to the United States, and, we are better off for it. Our relationship with China is very complicated. It is very, very complicated. On one hand, I do love boiled dumplings, pot stickers, things of that nature. But on the other hand, it was China who gave us this virus, and it has really thrown a monkey wrench into, my day-to-day plans. And so we're navigating it as best as we can. And I'd say so far it's going all right. We're spending a lot more time at home. I mean, let's face it, going to the office really sucked.
That is time. Thank you, Vice President Pence.
Thank you.
Now, it seemed like Spike was over here looking like he had something to say about what you had a look on your face like you needed to say something there.
Something needs to be said here. First of all, I think it's clear at this point that we have reached maximum Mike Pence excitement, and I think it's all going to be downhill from here, and I'm very sad about that, and I think everyone else at home is as well. But let's be very clear about something. The reason that we're even facing this pandemic as badly as we are in this country is because the FDA and the CDC didn't allow medical professionals to test COVID patients. It's why it spread out of control. It's why we're facing this worse than any other country, is because the federal government, run by people like Mike Pence and Kamala Harris's things that she's written on and that fly, have controlled and decided that they're going to be able to tell hospitals and doctors and nurses how to do their job better than they themselves can do. And we've seen the outcome to that. But first of all, before we go any further, I would like to take a moment to disparage the integrity of this debate. You, sir, Willie Fred, are claiming to be impartial, and yet you are in fact wearing a Spike Cohen, you are the power bracelet, and very possibly are intentionally throwing this entire thing for me. How dare you, sir?
Okay, so to be fair, everybody that has watched the Steelcast before, you should be aware by now that we did endorse you and Joe Jorgensen, but it is purely because you agreed to let us play at the White House. So
you will definitely play at the White House.
So there we go. So I would like to take this time to allow Vice President Pence, Spike Cohen, and Kamala Harris's legal records. If you would also allow us to play the White House, we'll endorse you too.
Well, absolutely. I believe that should Kamala Harris be elected president, vice president, she would definitely let you play at the White House.
Vice President Pence, why haven't we played the White House?
Well, no, that is a very good question, Willie Fred. And I always start off an answer by saying things like, that is a great question, or thank you, and things of this nature in order to kill time so that I can conjure up the best possible response under this handsome, well put together white head of mine. And what I would say is that, Willie Fred, to move forward to something that resembles an answer, I'm working really hard toward an answer. By the way, I would like to thank you for the question. It's a very good question you've asked me.
You're
Seth,
welcome.
you didn't ask me the question, but it was a good question posed to me by you too, and I'd like to thank you both for having me on. So, really, what I'd like to say here is that if you cover Johnny Cash songs, if you can competently cover a couple of his songs of old, I will happily let you play the Rose Garden.
That's good enough for me.
I like that song.
That's good enough
We
for me.
will actually, well, hold on. We will actually let you play inside of the middle of the Oval Office, and in the Rose Garden, and also in the main lobby area, and will not require you to sing any particular or cover any particular song. I just want to be clear about that.
Well, seems like we got us a bidding war.
That's what it looks like.
I was already taking off the wristband with that answer, but now I'm gonna put it back on.
How about this, Willie Fred, baby?
Is that the
Yes, Mr. Spike Cohen.
How about this? As the last human beings fester and rot on this earth, I will let Seth and Willie Fred be the anthem of the apocalypse.
Well, that is fitting.
it's very kind of you.
So we'll move on to the next portion right here. We do have a guest panelist who will be asking the next question. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Mr. Vermin Supreme. He's in the past. He's in the past.
Whoa! Now kiss.
I don't know what is happening right now.
Oh man,
I'm so confused. I hear
confused.
myself. I'm hearing myself. I'm in the future.
Whoa! Kiss.
this is incredible.
I am certain that this is a question,
Yes.
and I am prepared to answer it. Joe Jorgensen and I are the only ones who will make what this man is doing legal without a license.
Blah, 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 blah.
That is
Well, what I'm seeing right now is
hold on.
against my moral code. Completely against. It's so immoral. What I'm seeing is absolutely immoral.
This is completely against everyone's moral code, but this should be legal.
Vermin Supreme from the internet.
Hello, Mr. Supreme. Good to
Hello.
see you again.
Hello, am I on television?
You're
Are
just
we
joining
on?
us right now.
You're on television on the SWF news station.
Okay, I'm hearing some sort of weird feedback loop. Is that
It's
that on
because of the
purpose?
time travel.
Are you trying to cause some sort of confusion? Because I'm getting a little confused here. Hello.
I don't know what is happening with the time loop, but we can hear you just fine in whatever time period you're in.
Oh, I know what's going on. Hold on. Are you trying? Oh, hello? Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. We can hear you the whole
We
time.
always heard you.
You know what happened? I had YouTube on. I had the YouTube loop. So it was
Turn
causing
down
me
your
to mess
radio,
up.
Mr. Supreme. Turn down your radio.
Oh shit. Cool. Okay, boomer. Hey. Seriously, what's going on here?
What is going on here?
You asked
I
me to
don't know
call
what's
in,
going
right?
on.
You wanted me to
Yeah.
call in for something?
We wanted you to call in, Mr. Supreme, because this is all a bit of political theater, like any debate is. It's nothing but political theater. Nobody's going to change their mind about who they're voting for. It's just going to be a bunch of people saying my person won, oh, your person lost, and
We're all
I
winners.
actually
We all won.
came into this with an open mind.
Chicken dinner
Well, that's
for
good for
everybody.
you. I think you're the only person in America that is going to change their mind at this point. But
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Supreme, you are the premier leader in political theater,
Well,
and
thank you. You're very kind.
and you do have your steel reserve, of course. Wonderful.
Thank you.
And so we would like for you to ask these vice presidential candidates something important, something that will transcend political theater, something that will truly shape people's minds. What question do you have for these vice presidential candidates?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say, Fred, Willie, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me. Of course, I'd also like to say hello to all you beautiful people out there. Spike, of course, it's always a pleasure. I hope life is going well on the campaign trail for you. Feeling very confident. There's a wave of support. Yeah, I think you're America's favorite. Release your mind. But other than that, I'm completely impartial. Let me ask you a question now. But first, I'd like to comment. Now, this blurring of reality, it's very confusing. Very confusing. I'm not sure who advised you this would be a very good idea. But if I were you, or if I were Joe, you might want to have them fired. So I'm just putting that out there. I'm just putting that up front. However, now we all know, and I guess this is more a question for Joe Jorgensen, but I'll ask you, Spike. No, I'm going to ask you, Spike. It's about Joe Jorgensen, actually. And I guess I'll open it up to all the other candidates too, because we all know that Joe Jorgensen, in addition to playing hockey, also has a filthy mouth, and she really swears up a blue streak when she gets going. She's like a sailor who hit his dick with a hammer or something. I remember after the debate, sometimes it would be me and Joe, and she would just be telling me these filthy jokes, and it was very embarrassing, and dare I say a little inappropriate, because I can fap to that. But anyway, but my question is, of course, because I just was hoping that you could share with us this evening the dirtiest joke that Joe Jorgensen, who's very famous for her filthy jokes, and I know you as a running mate have probably been privy to some pretty outrageous ones. And so could you please share with us and share with America and Blakely Trailer Park, which are certainly two separate entities, what is the filthiest joke that Joe Jorgensen ever told you?
Well, Vermin, unfortunately, the last time that I told one of those jokes, I was actually banned from multiple social media outlets for violating many terms of service, including that of graphic violence, which I was surprised by because I was just talking. But so I probably can't do that. But what I will say is that if you are looking for a president who says what is on her mind to Vermin Supreme, then you definitely know who you need to be voting for.
I mean, I'm really amazed she hasn't had any slip-ups in public, I mean, it's like second nature to her. You're talking to her, it's F this, F that, SX. I mean, she's relentless when like she's not in public. But I mean, I just can't believe that she doesn't slip up sometimes. But,
Mr. Supreme, this is a family drinking show. We can't tell Joe Jorgensen's jokes that she tells us. We can't tell. We can't tell. She told me that aristocrats joke, and I mean, it was probably one of the best ones I've ever heard.
Was that the one with the Aristocats from the Disney movie?
The Aristocats came in. It started with with the family and the defecation and the stool.
It's the cat penis bit with the.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of like a carrot top, like a prop comedy kind of situation.
Yeah,
like a lipstick.
The woman's outrageous.
Mr. Supreme, I appreciate you coming on the show. We did get your copy of Spider-Man featuring Tobey Maguire on VHS.
I believe it was Spider-Man 2 I was looking for.
Spider-Man 2? Well, we got Spider-Man 1.
Can you send me? Can you get two of them?
Well,
two,
'cause 1 + 1 is
1
2.
plus
Two
1 is
copies
2.
of Spider-Man
Yeah.
1 would actually count as Spider-Man 2.
That's true.
Both featuring Tobey Maguire.
They are both
Both
featuring
feature- they
Tobey
both
Maguire.
have Tobey Maguire.
Right. Double your McGuire, double your fun.
That's right.
This is a question for all the panelists. What was the best Spider-Man movie?
Watching Spider-Man 1 twice.
Well, I reckon.
But from two completely different physical media. So like watching one DVD of or Blu-ray of Spider-Man 1, and then watching yet another DVD or Blu-ray of Spider-Man 1.
Vice President Pence.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you for the question, Vermin Supreme, Burrito Supreme, Cutlass Supreme. I would say that the very first Spider-Man I thought was the best one. I loved the underdog story, seeing a thin Tobey Maguire, void of any sort of lays in his life, get bit by a spider, get cut up and all jacked and swole, and then making out with that really lovely young lady upside down. You know, it goes to show you that with enough hard work and getting bit by enough insects, you too can go from a skinny underdog to, making whoopee with a lady upside down.
If you get bitten by a bat, you can actually get elected president as well.
Spider-Man 2.
told.
Spider-Man 2.
Hey, baby, I got some thoughts on Spider-Man, okay? So, you know that I don't like men, trying to eradicate men from the face of the earth. No men. I don't like spiders. What do you think the number one thing that's stopping flies from taking over the earth is? Spiders, okay? So I don't want nothing to do with a spider. I don't want nothing to do with a man. I definitely don't want nothing to do with Spider-Man.
Thank you. Kamala Harris's record. Spider-Man. What's your favorite Spider-Man?
Well, I reckon,
or otherwise?
I reckon the best one I seen was that one where he was fighting that fella with a fishbowl on his head. Over in Europe, over yonder ways in there. So I'd have to say probably the one where he's fighting a fella with a fishbowl head.
Thank you. Thank you, Miss Records. Vermin, did that answer your question?
Close enough.
Thank you. All right. So moving right along, Senator Harris's prosecution records. Recently, you called Tupac the best rapper alive, and said that you smoked weed and listened to his music in college. Do you stand by these statements, and will you publicly condemn the DA that created you for her nearly 2,000 drug convictions?
Well, as far as Tupac Shakur goes, he is definitely the best rapper alive. I mean, his collection of work addressed contemporary social issues, such as the unjust imprisonment of men of color. I'd just like to think that Kamala Harris has provided much-needed issues for today's rappers, which include the conviction records that you might be talking about there, and I'm not going to condemn them because I mean, as a sentient stack of legal records, I just need my job. I gotta feed my wife and my 4 tiny index cards. So I don't think I'm gonna be condemning them records.
Where is the voice actually? Like, I'm trying to understand, where is the sentience actually coming from? Is it the papers or the whiteout or the oops or like the entire body?
It's the legal records right here with the redacted parts that were kind of marked out of them, but we ain't going to talk about that.
Just the papers. That is fascinating.
Yeah, the paper, the folders, the manila folder. Yeah, we're sentient right here. We
kind of all work together.
It all
was
just works
excited.
together.
I thought it was a record collection.
Prosecution, and imprisonment.
So was it the whiteout or the papers that said that that she believed that Kamala Harris believed Joe Biden's accusers that he raped them? Because I know there was some confusion there as to whether it could, because initially Kamala Harris said both that Joe Biden was a racist who worked with segregationists and also that she believed that he was a rapist. And then a few months later, she said that he was the best person running for president and that she was his VP. Was that the papers said one thing and the whiteout said something else?
Well, really, when it gets down to it, it weren't neither the whiteout here on the table nor the big oops eraser. It's probably the pot pipe that's laying right there. She probably had a little bit too much smoke. You know how her two favorite things is smoking weed and locking people up for it. So I think she had just a little bit much of the green stuff there, and just forgot all about it. To be honest.
That's fair.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, so during this whole thing, it turns out this stream is so popular that we, in fact, did get a sponsor. We are now sponsored, and we have to take a commercial break because, you know, we have integrity. We like money. So we just got sponsored. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to take a commercial break. We'll be right back with more with the vice presidential debate.
Mark, a wrestling fanatic who believes that professional wrestling is 100% legit.
There's just something magical about seeing another man grind another man's face off on the side of a steel structure.
Meet Jonathan, mild-mannered video store clerk by day.
Can we just fast forward through this part?
No. It's the law.
Backyard wrestling promoter by night.
I got 2 words for ya. Battle Royal. Woo!
And Maggie Lightning, star of the Mosh Pit Wrestling Association.
That's my girl! You sure put a hurt on that old weasel box.
My granny taught me a few things in my life. How to knit a cross stitch and how to suplex.
And daughter of legendary pro wrestler, the real deal, Jack Dixon.
Jack, open up! I am late for work!
What the hell, Regina? I'm trying to sleep!
No! Maggie, you've got what it takes to make it in the business.
Jonathan will do anything it takes to get Maggie out of Grandma's yard and into the big leagues.
Wait. Did we?
Did what?
Eventually, we can break out of the yard and go where the big boys play.
What if I don't want to go where the big boys play?
Everyone wants to go where the big boys play.
You still got your little backyard shenanigans?
MPWA. You cannot just waltz back into my life and expect everything to be fine. Jonathan, you of all people should know that.
In this 3-way dance, only one champion can emerge victorious.
We have a new era in Mosh Pit Wrestling Association.
In a comedy about friendship, family, and grown men wearing spandex to the marks, wrestling is as real as it gets.
I'm going to be calling code enforcement about what you're doing here.
Big Brother, Lamestream Media, Intergalactic Masquerades. You want answers? So does he. He's Uncle Alex on the Steelcast Radio Network. And now, live from Blakely Trailer Park, it's Uncle Alex.
Good evening. Welcome to the show.
Today is October the 23rd. It's Friday, and my guests today are Seth and Willie Fred. Boys, how are you guys doing?
Dadgummit, Uncle Alex.
Oh my goodness.
Aunt Helen let you get in the studio again?
Oh, how did that happen?
We are trying to do a vice presidential debate.
Look, I understand, but I'm here to bring very important and vital news to your viewers, okay? Look, I've been watching your little debates that you guys have got going on, and I think it's great, all right? I think it's great. Democracy thrives when you have more voices in the conversation. Now, however, I do want to bring up a very important fact. Boys, what do frogs eat?
Insects.
Insects, that's right. Boys, now, are you aware that this fly is controlling Vice President Pence?
No, Uncle Alex, I'm not aware.
Now, boys, listen to me. I'm not telling you what I believe. I'm telling you what the elites believe. And the elites believe that this fly is controlling Vice President Pence. Now, let me tell you something. President Obama, in his 8-year tyrannical reign on these United States, what did he do? He put chemicals in the water that turned the friggin' frogs gay. And now those frogs are not here to defend our country against interdimensional, shape-shifting vampire flies that control our vice president.
Mr. Fly, do you have anything to say about these allegations that you are, in fact, interdimensional, shape-shifting fly controlling Mike Pence?
Well, you got me. Okay, first off, Mike Pence is not the only person I'm controlling right now. I'm coming to you live from inside of a steel reserve can inside of Vermin Supreme's boot. Okay, so I got him, number one. Number two, you see those little earphones coming out of Mike Pence's ears? That ain't no Apple product. That's your flyboy maggots dripping out of his ears. He's got a head full of maggots.
So these are some strong allegations. What I'm going to need to know is, Spike, are you being controlled by the fly as well? Is this all some sort of deep state plan?
That's not what the American people want to hear. Here's what we need to talk about right now is, Uncle Alex, let's be very clear about something. You are referring to the phenomenon of frogs switching as a part of the natural consequence of their life cycle, switching from male to female, or from male to female. And I just am here to tell you, trans frogs are frogs. And I think that you need to acknowledge nature and science and stop getting upset about frogs being who they are as people.
Now, Governor Cohen, I got something to say to you about this, okay? It is a fact, all right? Satan smells like sulfur. And I'm not telling you what I believe. I'm telling you what the elites believe. President Obama and Hitler also smelled like sulfur. Now, my question to you, Governor Cohen, do you smell like sulfur?
Again, the American people are sick and tired of the conversation being constantly changed to things that I don't want to talk about. So let's talk about the thing that I came here to say, and that is this. If you were sick and tired of the cost of living spiraling out of control, if you were sick and tired of not having control of your own health care, of your own life, of your ability to thrive, then the only vote that you can do is a vote for Joe Jorgensen and myself. Let's be very, very clear about this. This is not about these other things that are things that I have no interest in talking about. They're about my things, and this is one of those things.
Now, Governor Cohen, I have a question for you. What will you do to stop the interdimensional space-shifting, ship-shifting vampires that are controlling our presidents and our vice presidents?
I believe that non-interventionism is the key here. I don't think that we would have shape-shifting, whatever you just said, unless there was a vested interest in controlling a large military-industrial complex that we simply have no control over. It is making us less safe. It is making us less secure. It is causing many people to come home with PTSD and other problems, and they are being subjected to the worst form of healthcare in this country, the interdimensional shape-shifting frog veterans administration, and it is a travesty. We are going to end it on day 0. We're not even going to wait till day 1. We're going to actually do it the very moment we are sworn in. We're going to throw paperwork in the Chief Justice's face to make that happen immediately, and we will all be safer and happier and freer for it.
So will you be defunding the Space Force? Because the Space Force seems like it's probably the only thing standing in the way between the interdimensional shape-shifting vampire alien frogs.
Make no mistake, you are either with the American people or you are with Space Force.
Those are strong words. Vice President Pence, you are part of this administration that has pushed for the Space Force. Do you have anything to say about the idea of defunding it? Do you stand with 45 and in his attacks on the interdimensional deep space nine? I don't know what's happening.
The Bilderberg Group is stopping him from being able to speak. The Bilderberg Group is behind this. I'm telling you, boys.
You have to unmute yourself. You have to unmute yourself.
I'm telling you, boys, the Bilderberg Group is behind every bit of this. They are stopping our vice president from being able to speak and favoring Governor Cohen and the Fly and Vermin Supreme.
The Build-A-Bear workshop.
You're going to have to unmute yourself. Spike, you're going to have to unmute yourself.
Am I muted now too?
Yes,
Spike,
I can't hear what you're
yourself.
saying.
Oh, no.
No, totally. Yeah, you have to unmute yourself.
Oh.
Unmute yourself, Spike.
Can you hear this?
No, I can't.
Nope, can't
You
hear
have
it.
to unmute yourself.
What? What is happening?
I'm starting to think this isn't about. Am I really muted?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Yeah.
This is all a political ploy. It is.
This was all just time to buy some time for
This is a-
VP. What's his name? What's
That
your
guy
name?
right there?
This feller.
That's a Pence. Pike Peak.
Mike Pence has to unmute himself.
Pence, can you hear me?
Jeffrey Tuber, are you there? Is Jeffrey Tuber there?
Who?
Oh, Jeffrey. Oh.
He's the guy who whipped out his wang on the Zoom by accident. He's a columnist.
I specifically asked that Jeffrey Tubin not be here.
Okay.
All right, being added now is Jeffrey Tubin. Well, we'll come back to Mike Pence. Let's go on over here to Fly Anon.
No, here, give me the camera. I'll show you what the Jeffrey Tubin looked like.
Oh no.
And then it
This
got
is
rude.
quality
Then it got worse.
television right here. Flying on. Do you have anything that you would like to respond to thoughts on the Space Force?
Oh yeah, baby. I'm trying to get everybody on a rocket to the moon. It's going to be a slow. You know how hard it is to take over the world as a fly? It's very hard. Y'all talking about gay frogs? If there's 3 things I don't like: men, spiders, and frogs. Flies don't like frogs. We're trying to send all the frogs and the spiders and the men to the moon, put them on the Space Force, get them out of here so the Earth can return to the flies, baby.
Vice President Pence, are you back now? I still can't hear you. I still can't hear you. So I guess we're just doing the show in mime from now on. But if anybody is a trained mime or a trained,
well, I for one, frankly, I want to hear Senator Harris's desk talk about the issue with, I don't remember now. Oh, the frogs. I want to know what, but hopefully, preferably in the voice of Marlon Brando. I would like to know what Kamala Harris's office and paperwork think of the gay frogs.
Well, I'd just like to thank you for the opportunity to be able to speak on this very, very sensitive subject. But well, as a sentient stack of Kamala Harris's legal records, I can assure you I'm not a shapeshifter. I was born from a magical tree that was cut down in a forest, and I just had to be used to store Kamala Harris's legal records. So as far as the Space Force goes, It could be a good thing. I mean, imagine how many people that were put in prison here on Earth. There's an entire galaxy of different varying species of creatures that I believe that we could open up brand new frontiers for being able to imprison space aliens. It's definitely with the beginning of a space force. We can sell those old space force vehicles to the regular planetary police force, so they can start rounding those whole criminal aliens up. So yeah, so I believe we will support the idea of a space force.
Thank you. That was horrifying.
That absolutely was horrifying, but we'll move on. We have some questions from some guest panelists. First, we have Mr. J.C. Cook.
J.C. Cook from Texas. This is a question for all the candidates. America is often purported to be the land of the free, and yet we have the highest incarceration rates in the world. Some people, myself included, favor implementing a system of restorative justice as a viable alternative to punitive justice. What is your opinion of restorative justice, and if elected, would you support this transition?
I'm a big fan of restorative justice. I think, first of all, we need to look at the fact that the majority of people that are in jail shouldn't even be there in the first place. Most people are in prison for victimless crimes. Drug crimes, consensual sex work crimes, gun crimes, and things like that. Crimes where there was no victim, there was no violence, there was no assault, there was no murder, there was no theft, there was no fraud. They simply, the person did something simply that the government decided that they shouldn't be able to do, or many times they did something that would have been legal if they had been able to afford the licensing to do so. You should not be in prison for that. In fact, you shouldn't even be required to have a license to do the things that you should have the freedom to be able to do. And so for that reason, we believe the majority of people that are in prison shouldn't even be there to begin with. They should be removed, set free, and they should have their records expunged. And then furthermore, we need to look at people who are in prison for crimes that did have a victim, but are not violent or dangerous crimes where the person that is in prison is not a threat to the public. And look at things like diversion programs and things like that, where the victim of, for example, like a shoplifting or a petty theft, the victim can be made whole from that, and the person who committed that crime can be made to learn from their lesson, actually, so that within a matter of weeks or even months, they're able to learn from this, to have made their victim whole, and to then now go on and thrive having learned their lesson, as opposed to having their life ruined, having the victim not receive any real justice in being made whole, and in just building up a prison complex that is built around free prison labor. Another thing that we need to be doing is that the loophole in the 13th Amendment that has essentially allowed chattel slavery, as long as it's being done by the government, that needs to end. Prisons need to be required, if they are to use the labor of people that are in prison. They need to be subjected to the same conditions that they would be outside of prison. They can't pay them pennies a day. They can't involuntarily contract them to do work. They have to treat them the same way that any other employer would treat any other employee, which would eliminate the incentive to do it in the first place, which is the point. So no, I'm a big fan of restorative justice, and I'm a big fan of... I know this is now a reggae remix, so thank you for that.
That is time. That is time.
Hey, I gotta say,
Willie Fred, get back on track.
I'm being told by the producers that I'm being slack on time constraints for,
it's all your
each
fault.
Person.
It's absolutely your fault.
So that was time, but I appreciate that answer. We can circle back to that if you'd like to respond to anything that anybody says. But we're got to throw to Miss Harris's legal documents on the same topic.
Well, this one's right up my alley, guys. What we believe is we need to create a world where you do not pass go, we collect $200 and you go straight to jail. But with that type of sentiment, we must also build a bridge. with the disenfranchised communities in America. But of course, that bridge leads directly to jail also. So I believe that's where we stand on justice pretty much.
Thank you, Ms. Harris's legal documents. Vice President Pence, have you figured out what's going on with your sound there?
Well, am I able to be heard right now in this present moment?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Oh, thank goodness, because earlier I did. It seemed that perhaps I had been taken over and controlled by that damn fly. Right now I have control over my own faculties, and I'm going to be quite honest. I did not hear a single solitary word that our esteemed guest asked of us, and so I will then proceed to kill more time and say that was a great question that was asked, and thank you so much for having me on, Seth and Willie Fred, and to that gentleman, thank you for the question.
Vice President Pence, the question was about criminal justice and about instead of locking people up, do we need to worry about trying to reform people that are put into situations where they commit a crime? That something along that lines.
Okay. Well, that's something I think I can work with. I would once again like to thank that gentleman for the question that he presented. I think unfortunately we have too much of a system of garbage in, garbage out, and so it starts at home. It starts at home, at a Christian home, and I think that so long as there is a good upbringing, so long as we are taught values and things of this nature, that maybe we will not end up going to places like jail. And maybe we should, if we are attending church and Sunday school every Sunday, that, well, no, let me tell you something, baby. There's no way that is not a truthful answer. This is the fly talking through Vice President Pence. And you cut me off way too damn soon, Seth and Willie Fred. I will then throw it to me, fly. Go ahead and talk to people, and you tell them what you think, baby.
Hey, babies, you heard Mike Pence. Here's what I have to say to the question. Lock everybody up. Put them all in cages until only Mike Pence has the key. That's my answer, baby.
That is a hell of a good answer. That's a hell of an answer, baby. I'm feeling hot as a $2 pistol. Gonna take off my jacket. Gonna undo my little button here. Let this on down. It is so hot. Lord, it is hot. I tell you what. This is how much power the fly
Mr. Cohen,
has.
it seems like you're the only one that's disagreeing with what everybody else is saying. Everybody else is saying lock everybody up. It seems like that you're the only one that disagrees. So I'll allow you to retort.
There is nothing that has happened in the last 3 minutes that doesn't disgust and horrify me. And I think that that's an important thing to take away from with all of this. Let's be very clear about something. A vote for libertarianism is apparently also a vote for normalcy. And we're in a time where we're seeing chaos around us. We are in the middle of a pandemic. We're in the middle of the worst recession of our lives, and we need a return to normalcy. And somehow I am that. Somehow. I don't know how. I'm actually as shocked as anyone here, but here we are. Blakely Trailer Park. Also, let's go to what really matters. You know, the Blakely Trailer Park people. None of this matters to you. Here's what matters to you: that the government that has oppressed your proud people for so many centuries does not continue to do so. That you have your autonomy and your sovereignty respected under the gracious rule of President of Blakely Trailer Park who is in fact.
We don't have a president. We just have a mayor-in-law, and Seth's running for mayor-in-law.
Yeah.
Mayor-in-law elect Seth. And it's very clear that the people of America and the people of Blakely Trailer Park want to live in peace and respecting each other's boundaries, which lies somewhere between the Quick Stop and the Piggly Wiggly. And I think that it is important that we find where that line is, and we respect it as a shared human family of people in and around rural Alabama.
Beautiful, beautiful, absolutely beautiful words there.
Thank you.
Well, that once again, if I hadn't already endorsed you, I'd do it again, just because you're the only party out there that's actively acknowledging the sovereign nation of Blakely Trailer Park, and that is very important to me as a citizen of Blakely Trailer Park.
And I can agree with this.
So
absolutely. Well, it is important to me, of course.
So Spike, the next question is yours.
Okay.
Part of your platform for vice president early on was to give away a free order of cheesy bread with the purchase of every federal explosives permit.
Yes.
What other free promotional giveaways are you in favor of, if any? And are you planning to have other federal permits that also come with these kind of free giveaways? And this question can also be responded to by anybody else here if you are planning to do some sort of giveaway with federal permits.
Well, sadly, this was a bit of an elaborate ruse because I never actually intended for there to be any more federal explosives permits. I think if you want to blow something up, provided that it is either yours or belongs to someone else who has consented for you to blow that thing up, that is really none of the government's business. What I was saying is that if the government was to get involved with that, they should also give you cheesy bread. But I don't think really that the federal government needs to be involved in permitting anything really especially when it comes to weapons and explosives. The Second Amendment is very clear. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And that includes the people of Blakely Trailer Park. It does not just say of the citizens of the United States. It says of the people. And we all here are the people, especially the fly here. And so as a result of that, I would say that it is very, very clear what the founders intended. And that is for demonic flies to be able to control Mike Pence's body and blow things up with Vermin Supreme. Clearly, that's exactly what they had in mind.
Well, I do believe that Senator Harris has also developed a free giveaway program. I have word that Senator Harris is going to be giving away a free bologna sandwich and a free Granny Smith apple with every federal incarceration.
Well, is
that the only giveaway program that Senator Harris is endorsing at this time?
That is the only program that Senator Harris is going to be signing off on, but we may, depending on the crime, we may upgrade it to a fried bologna sandwich.
I'm not going to lie, but it sounds like the entirety of Senator Harris's promises are built around incarcerating essentially everyone.
Well, not everyone. There still has to be senators and representatives and peace officers. So we will not be sending those to prison, but everybody else pretty much going to be open game. Yeah, you could say that.
Okay, well, I mean, that makes sense.
Vice President Pence, are you in favor of any sort of giveaway programs?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for the question that has been posed to me tonight here an hour, 4 minutes, and 21 seconds into tonight's vice presidential debate. As a unabashed Republican and a proud conservative, I would typically not be in favor of giving away anything, but to urge the American people to earn everything, to earn anything and everything. However, I will make a special exception tonight. I would be completely okay with giving away Indiana tomatoes. Now, you have not had a tomato unless you've had one from Indiana. Now, there are some decent tomatoes grown in rural Alabama, but unless you've had a tomato grown out of a farm in Indiana, you've not had a tomato. So with every single you cast a vote, mine and number 45's way, you will be sent a tomato. And fuck that, baby. Fuck a tomato. You know what? I am going to give away all the turds. Turds for you, turds for you. And the words of Oprah all that time ago. Turds, turd, you get a 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 turd, and you get a turd, baby. Turds for everybody. Turd, 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 turd.
It seems like the fly has taken over Vice President Pence again.
I think that that is actually against the rules of the debate.
This
So
is
if it happens again, we're going to have to discipline somehow.
Mr. and or Mrs. Fly, you are entitled to your own opinions, but you are not entitled to your own Mike Pence.
Hey. Mike Pence's body, my choice, baby. That's all I got to say.
Okay.
All right. So moving on to the next question from the panel. Well, actually, let's go ahead and ask Vermin Supreme, since you're in here.
Get him back on here.
Since you're in here, you're not. Are you? I believe you ran for vice president at some point.
Hold on.
You president and vice president at the same time, right? So are you in favor of any kind of giveaways?
Maybe. What do you want? What do you need? What are you looking?
What you think?
What are you looking for?
I don't know. I mean, sometimes I really wish that I could kind of get around the farm a little bit easier.
Yeah.
You got anything that could help me with that?
Steel Reserve will help you with that, brother.
Well, I mean,
is this part of the new platform?
Oh yeah, Steel Reserve. That's what I approve. Ponies are great, but drunk ponies, they're even more fun. That's why I always get my pony Steel Reserve, the beer that ponies really love. You ever see a drunk pony? I have.
How do you get a pony drunk? That is the question. Like, do you just kind of put it in the feed and they?
Oh, you just get a 6-pack of Steel Reserve and just like pop them all and pour them in the bowl.
Pour them in the bowl.
Pour in the bowl.
In the pony bowl.
In the pony bowl.
That's it.
It's so pony bowls. So ponies. See, I've been feeding my pony all wrong because I've been using a trough. But you're supposed to use a bowl.
You're supposed to use a pony bowl.
Well, for beer, yeah.
So beer only is in the pony bowl.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you'd have to have a lot of beer if you're gonna give it a whole trough. So I guess a bowl does make more sense.
What is going on here?
I mean, it takes a lot of beer to get a horse drunk. Yeah, I mean, you try and get a horse drunk, you're gonna need like a keg or something, but. A pony is a different thing. Case of beer, probably get a good buzz on pony and stuff.
Also,
you are an expert in ponies.
Another thing is that a trough often, it's made of slats of wood, and the liquid could go through the slat, and then you would have wasted everything. But with a bowl, that's your ticket.
What's the difference between a trough and a manger?
One has a baby in it. I don't know.
Okay, I don't know.
Well, I feel like Mike Pence has the answer to this. Mike Pence, what's the difference between a trough and a manger?
Well, a trough and a manger. That is not unlike the story that was told earlier. Well, I say that the story that was told earlier, the story that was alluded to earlier. Spider-Man, an underdog, the difference between a trough and a manger is that a trough, now that's an underdog. You know, hogs and donkeys and other animals eating from it. They just fill the trough with slop and things of this nature, and you know, vegetables and the things that could not grow in the compost pile get thrown into a trough. But you know, every now and then, the most important individual in human history gets laid down in one, and at that point, it does indeed become a manger, and a star is risen high above, and people, kings and things of this nature, carrying myrrh and other gifts, will walk gently and very intently towards the star. And on that Christmas Eve, a trough then becomes a manger. A spider then becomes a man. And
that is time. That is time, Vice President Pence.
I think if Vice President Pence was serious about this and actually believed anything that he just said, he would want to end the Trump administration's restrictions on myrrh. And yet he never talked about that, and neither did Kamala Harris, because she actually wants to strengthen those prohibitions on myrrh.
Well, please, Seth and Willie Fred, do what you do on CNN and those other fake news channels. I need at least 15 seconds to respond.
15 seconds to respond.
Okay, thank you for allowing me 15 seconds to respond. You know,
1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi.
Okay, yeah, and Spike, you have asked a very good question here, and I will respond to it once we get somewhere near, I don't know, 9 or 10 or 12 Mississippi. And what I'd like to say is that, you know, as a staunch conservative, you can do what you want with your myrrh. If you would like to invest in more myrrh, if you would like to give your myrrh to your children as part of your will, if you would like to, I don't know, get angry at the football game on a Saturday or Sunday and throw that damn myrrh out the window because you're so angry, you may do just that. I feel, and not unlike the Libertarian Party, do pretty much the hell what you want to with your myrrh, within reason.
Well, I believe again that I think if you really believe that and weren't just pandering for the Blakely Trailer Park Nation people's vote, that you would have not implemented the Trump administration's myrrh prohibitions if that were true. So I have to call shenanigans, and I know that each of us are allowed to call shenanigans once during this debate, and I'm calling it.
That is your one shenanigans call.
You've done it, and it was like an unwritten thing, or was it written?
It was written. We sent out a rule.
I received the postcard. Yeah.
Well, I reckon Kamala Harris needs about 15 seconds to talk about some myrrh. And I just want to let you know right now, the only myrrh that Senator Harris is concerned with is America. So we are worried about America and what's coming into its borders. We definitely need to check what's going on with the myrrh as it comes into America. And I tell you what, all this talk about beer has got me quite parched, or as I might say, parchment. So I'm just going to crack one here of good old Steel Reserve. So
thank you.
That's one for the books there.
That's one for the books.
There's one for the highlight reel, so to speak.
I mean, that is actually a book, so it is one for the books.
All right. So Seth did some research here during that question.
Yes, it turns out that a trough and a manger are the same.
They are the same thing. They mean exactly the same thing. So we was just debating all that for nothing.
Well, no,
all mangers are troughs, but not all troughs are mangers.
I did not debate that for nothing. I did not debate that for nothing. I was defending the New Testament. So that's where I stand. So thank you for giving me 6 entire seconds to respond to that.
You're welcome.
Moving on to the next question.
Hi, and thank you for having me. And may I say, Mr. The Fly, you looked as handsome as ever on the vice president debates. You have such a great aura around you. Now, Mr. The Fly, in the last debate, you got up and close and personal with Vice President Pence. My question is to see, have you ever gotten as close to the president's head? And is his hair, in fact, as we all know, a fox spirit that gives President Donald Trump bad advice? Thank you.
Okay, I'll answer this by saying every once in a while you get a freak like this who wants to make love to a fly. Every once in a while you get somebody coming along want to be a fly fucker. You know what I mean? I ain't about that. I'm not into humans, and this guy definitely has an eye for me, and he ain't gonna touch my aura. You see this aura right here? He ain't gonna touch it. I don't want nothing to do with it, baby. First off, yes, it's a spirit fox on top of Donald Trump's head. Okay, fine. It's an orange fox, and on top of Mike Pence's head, it's a silver fox, baby. That's all you need to know.
Thank you, Mr. Fly. Does anybody else have a response, a retort? Your name was brought up, Vice President Pence.
Well, yes, I would like to say, I have now taken over Mike Pence's body once again. The Fly talking through Mike Pence. That's power. When an insect enters the body of the second most important man of the free world, suddenly, you combine a fly with somebody kind of big and white and boisterous like Mike Pence. He starts to, it's weird. Through his body, it's funny how I kind of sound like the American Dream, Dustin Rhodes. But even though I could barely hear the question that our fellow there said, I would just like to say that style and mystery and all the pickup artists of old, they got nothing on the fly. I can pick up politicians, their wives, anybody. The Fly can make sex with the entire world, and that's a hell of a place to be, baby.
Just let him go.
You're the timekeeper. You're supposed to be the one keeping the time.
I just let him go. I mean, they.
You like the Dusty Rhodes part.
I tell you, that's.
Anybody else have a response?
That's power, baby. That's power. That is power.
Spike, response?
No.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next question.
Next question.
Yo, what it is, 24-hour party people. This is your boy, M-Dubs, movie star, sex symbol, high-powered Hollywood producer, Marcus Weathersby, coming at you via video, like I do. Now, I heard a lot of talk about things, about like the free exchange of ideas, about the marketplace of ideas. Now, I want to know, how does the marketplace of ideas work, especially in modern times, considering that we are currently under, from multiple countries, disinformation campaigns, as well as a compromised media and a lying president?
Well, I think that's the problem. And I think that the way that you deal with the fact that information is compromised is by allowing as many different ideas and as many different things to be said so that we can determine for ourselves what the truth is. The problem isn't that we're looking at the consequence of the problem instead of the problem itself. The problem is that the government, in many cases, is controlling who is able to be on broadcast media. They are controlling who is able to have social media platforms because they have put so many barriers and burdens in place so that effectively they have created a cartel of established social media companies and big tech companies that don't have to worry about any new competition because the new competition can't possibly afford the cost of the barrier to entry to be able to get in. And that allows them to be able to run roughshod over how they treat the rest of us. when you have a tight control over who can be an ISP, who can be a social media company, who can do hosting, who can be a payment gateway provider, and so forth, you control the entire conversation from the very platforms themselves. The answer is not to try to further restrict what can and can't be said, or to try to force platforms into allowing different forms of opinion. The last thing you want is the government in charge of that. The answer, as always, is to go to the root of the problem. And as usual, the root of the problem is government picking winners and losers. When we end that, when we allow the market to do its thing, when we allow remove those barriers and burdens so that new competitors can come in to be able to threaten the dominance of the existing providers and the existing platforms, then those platforms and providers are going to be a lot less likely to treat us poorly, because they know that we can go to their new competitors, and that will deal with the problem at its source, rather than trying to put more band-aids on it in the form of even more government involvement.
All right. Any of the other panelists or candidates have a response?
Well,
Yeah,
I
I got
know.
something to say.
We'll go to Kamala Harris's legal records first.
Well, one part of the question is talking about election interference, and I tell you what, it all comes down. It really depends on what country is interfering. Am I right? I mean, whether it's good or bad. But we as the government system, we've long been supporters of interfering with other countries' elections, as long as it brings them a little bit of freedom and us, their natural resources and such.
Mr. Fly.
No.
Vice President Pence.
Well, a lot has been said about Donald Trump's relationship with Russia. And, here's the thing, that has been way blown out of proportion, and that, Donald Trump, before he became president, had business dealings all over the globe. And, Russia's part of the globe. Let's not be biased against any part of the globe. Russia has their little, it's rather large, a section of the globe. And so there was a business relationship there. And
Vice President Pence. Vice President Pence. Oh, he's out of time anyway. He fell asleep, but he's out of time anyway.
I have a question, actually. Vice President Pence, will you respond to the allegations that you are in fact a Russian nesting doll?
That's a really that was such a compelling question. That was such a poignant and pointed and paragraphed question that I will answer, but I have to hear it repeated. I was in a state of slumber. Would you please, Mr. Spike Cohen, repeat the question? I will answer it once I
Are
have
you
heard
or
it.
are you not, in fact, in this moment, a Russian nesting doll?
A nesting doll?
A nesting doll. A doll that inside of you is yet a smaller Mike Pence, which inside of it is yet a smaller Mike Pence, which inside of it is yet a smaller Mike Pence, and so on.
I think Mike Pence is 3 Russian nesting dolls in a trench coat myself.
So we have two different allegations on the floor. I'd like to give Vice President Pence the opportunity to respond to both allegations.
You get 15 seconds per.
15 seconds per.
Okay, 15 seconds. I would like to first of all thank both of you for both the poignant questions and the pointed paragraphed accusations that have been darted toward me in such a poignant manner. I'd like to think of myself not as a doll with layers. I'm more of an action figure. I would like to think of myself as an early WWF Hasbro or a G.I. Joe. Sergeant Slaughter was in both universes as both a Woodsboro and a GI
That is time.
That is time.
That is time on the
Okay.
first allegation.
What I'd like to say, I am what no, give me. I need. Could I have a couple more seconds, and then you can blow your reggae horn.
This is the worst mixtape I've ever heard.
Well, you know, do all libertarians hate reggae? That is. I mean, some Republicans.
Okay, wait, first of all, let's be very clear, sir. This is not reggae. This is at best ska, and I won't even honestly say that it's that. It's actually not that.
All I'm trying to say is that I'm not a multi-dimensional figure. Is that I'm I'm more of a singular doll-like person. I am Ken, but without the abs.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to the next question. We will get down to the Q&A where the candidates can ask each other questions just here in a moment. But we do have one important thing. Schools recently started back earlier this fall, and you got a lot of parents that are saying that they want their kids to do the digital, and you got other parents that say they want their kids to go because they need them out the house because they're getting on the damn nerves. Excuse me. This is a family show. Anyway, do you think, and this question goes out to all the candidates, do you think that hang on, I got it written down here. Where's it at? Right here. Do you think that this should be left up to the parents who paid their own damn taxes to fund their child's education? Or do you believe that parents who refuse to send their children to school during a pandemic should be held accountable with jail time?
Well,
for everybody.
Well, I would like to take the
we'll go to Kamala Harris first.
1 minute.
Well, of course, Senator Harris's view. She has a daggum fine record of jailing parents over truancy. So we're just going to need to get these kids back on in school, because you can't jail the parents if the students are at home, right? They're going to pop on that screen anywhere. They're going to try to say they got connection issues, and there's all kinds of different loopholes. So we've either A, got to get the kids back to school so we can start jailing the parents over truancy, or we need to start making more things illegal about the virtual schooling, because I really think that we're missing out on a lot of jail time there, and it's a dadgum shame that we've got down to this.
Thank you, Kamala Harris's legal records. The Fly.
Sorry, that was time for the previous one.
Let me tell you what I like to do, baby. Okay? It's the springtime. It's school's in session. I like to find me a smelly little chubby little kid whose parents don't give him a shower or nothing like that. You know, a stanky little kid, and follow him around. I sniff him out, and I start circling him with all my interdimensional buddies. And that's how we get into the school system. And let me tell you this. If you think that the Fly can brainwash a kid any better than the American public school system, you got another thing coming, baby. Public school system? No. Teach them all at home. Everybody stay locked up in a cage. End of humanity, baby. Flies are taking over.
Vice President Pence.
Well, yes, I would like to begin by saying that virtual learning has its benefits, but at the same time, I came up at a small town in Indiana where to the left of us was a tomato farm, and to the middle of us was the school itself. And to the right of us, well, let me tell you something, because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to latch myself to the ass of some fat, pimple little brat, and I'm going to infect and disinfect and avoid the janitorial staff like the plague. And I will pass on this plague. I will go and fuck some sweat and blood out of various folks, be it teachers, be it students, the janitorial staff. I wouldn't say it.
That is time.
That is
time.
Mike, tell you.
All right.
And as I take a big ass
Mike.
gulp of this Steel Reserve through the body of Mike Pence, non-drinking conservative ass.
Spike, it is your response. The question is, do you believe that children should be forced to go back to school, or should it be left up to the parents who paid their own taxes to fund the education program to begin with?
B.
Thank you.
That's it? That's all you got?
Yes, I think it should be the latter. I think that parents and the schools themselves should be able to determine what is best and safest in their area. And I certainly disagree with Senator Harris about putting people in jail for refusing to comply with government diktat when it comes to schooling. I disagree with Mike Pence about really everything that just happened there.
Thank you.
Thank you. So moving on to the final portion of the show, the candidates can now ask each other a question. This is one question per candidate. We will start with Kamala Harris's legal records.
Well, I guess my question is going to be for Governor Cohen there. I just want to ask you, in the fine tradition of the Libertarian Party and their vice presidential candidates, will you, at some point before Election Day, be endorsing Joe Biden?
No, I definitely will be breaking that recent tradition that has been set by former Libertarians, and I definitely will not be following in those particular footsteps. I think it's best that we find those footsteps and rake them very clearly so that you can't see them anymore.
Vice President Pence, question for any of the other candidates here tonight.
I have a question for the vice presidential candidate, Spike Cohen. Spike Cohen, I'd first like to thank you so much for being with us tonight, and I mean that with as much sincerity as I can possibly put forth. It's twofold. First of all, I really don't know very much about libertarianism, in that all I know about it was a quick Wikipedia search I did right before we went on tonight for this debate. So I would like for you to give a 140 character less explanation as to what libertarianism is. And on November the 3rd or before then, will you simply be writing your name or Jorgensen's name in the blank slate on the ballot?
So answering the second part first, the Libertarian Party, Joe Jorgensen and myself are on all 50 state ballots, plus DC and Guam. Shout out to my Guam.
Cool. Yeah, that's dope.
So you can actually just press in the old Chad there for our next to our names, and be sure not to leave it hanging. Libertarianism is very simply the belief that people do best when they are free, and that when we have people aggressing against us, when government makes our lives harder, when government tries to tell us what to do, when they rob us, and when they put barriers and burdens in place to make it more difficult for us to thrive, we have unnecessarily harmful outcomes as a direct result of that. And that it's much better, and we have much better outcomes if we're simply free, if we simply are not robbed, if we are not subjugated, if we do not have the will of others imposed against us, that we naturally will be able to thrive better working with each other to come up with solutions to the problems that we face, and that we'll have fewer problems to deal with in the first place. That is the core of libertarianism in 140 characters or less.
Thank you. I will have you know that I am I am 90% smarter having heard what I just heard. Thank you, and God bless you. And thank you for being here tonight. And I'm so glad, as I expressed earlier, that none of us here were aborted, but especially you. And I thank you. God bless.
Thank you. I am also glad that I was not aborted. Thank you. And thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Pence. Up next, the next question is to the Fly. Who's your question to?
Hey, baby, my question's to you, Willie Fred.
I'm not a candidate for vice president.
Doesn't matter, baby. My question's to you. So, what I want to know is, would you rather swallow this hog-swallowed pipe dream of libertarianism and have everybody get along as a human family? Or would you rather follow my sewer pipe dream and have humans eradicated from the earth and flies maintain a dystopian reign over this planet?
To answer that question, there's a lot of people telling me that those two things ain't mutually exclusive, that you can do both. So, but I mean, I'd rather everybody live in peace and harmony. I'm really just more worried about Blakely Trailer Park not being oppressed by Brian Kemp.
Yeah, and let's be clear, under a libertarian society, you are, of course, free to live in a sewer pipe under a trailer park. There's nothing that says you can't do that.
That is true.
I wouldn't actually advise anyone to do that, but if you decide, I mean, if it's your sewer pipe and your body and your trailer park, then
I mean, okay, now
who would want to stop you?
Listen, I would want to stop you if it's my sewer pipe. I ain't trying to have everybody clog up my drains when I'm trying to flush down number 2.
Someone else in your sewer pipe? Absolutely not. You should have the authority to use whatever force is necessary to stop other people from trying to live in your sewer pipe. I'm saying if you would like to live in your sewer pipe, that is a clear example of property rights in action.
That is such a unique take on freedom. I have
thank you.
Before tonight, all I knew were pro-life, conservatism, Catholicism, and tomatoes. Thank you.
I think what Governor Cohen said there about it not being against the law. Let me just add yet. Get me one of these here note cards here.
Wait, how is the sheet of paper also a hand with an arm that is grabbing itself?
That's my assistance.
Oh,
don't question the reality that we built here tonight.
Do not pay no attention to that feller behind the curtain now.
Okay.
I'm trying to write down stuff to be made illegal. So thank you for the ideas, Governor Cohen.
Your assistant is.
Yeah,
in keeping with the spirit of magnanimity that we have seen tonight in keeping with the spirit of that, I have a question for Senator Harris's desk. Senator Harris's desk. Senator Harris had said in the past that we know that Senator Harris, as a DA, at least twice that we know of, intentionally withheld exonerating evidence in capital murder cases. And I mean, essentially what that means is that, and no amount of changing the placement of the portrait you have of Tupac Shakur is going to change this. In at least twice that we know of, she tried to have someone executed that she had evidence that strongly suggested that they did not commit the crime she was trying to have them executed for. And not only did she continue those prosecutions, she actually, at least one of those times, intentionally withheld that evidence even after her office was ordered to release it. What I'm asking you Mr. or Mrs. I apologize if I'm gendering you, fellow paper. Would you consider that, at least morally, to be attempted murder?
Under no circumstance would a prosecutor on the level of Kamala Harris withhold exonerating evidence that would free a man from a murder charge. I just don't reckon that would happen. No exonerating evidence here. Nowhere to be found.
So I'm not going to lie. Earlier, I saw something on the top of the stack of paper that said, I believe exactly verbatim, exonerating evidence. Are you saying that did not exist?
Well, I reckon that's just your opinion.
Well, I think it's clear.
Ain't nothing there now. Not near a thing.
But there was.
Look, there's a picture of Tupac, the greatest rapper alive.
I saw the picture of Tupac.
Yeah, that's what you saw earlier too. It weren't no exonerating evidence. It was, in fact, a photograph of the greatest rapper alive, Tupac.
Well, then I take back my question. I apologize.
All right. Thank you there, Spike. Following up before we leave here tonight. This is about exonerating evidence, and this is a question that's important to the people of the internet. Back in 2015, Netflix released a documentary called "Making a Murderer," and there was a firestorm of people calling for reforms to the justice system, and people trying to say that exonerating evidence was left out of a very important murder case of the Stephen Avery. Miss Harris, are you in favor of reforms that would allow new evidence to go to trial and potentially release people who've been wrongfully accused of things like murder or such as Andy?
Well, is that fella in jail right now?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I guess you have your answer.
Okay. Well, anybody else with a response to this situation?
Yes, I think it's only fair that any evidence that a prosecutor's office or DA's office have needs to be released to the defense. There's no compelling reason ever to withhold any evidence, exculpatory or otherwise, from the defense. That should be just as clear as can be. The entire justice system is supposed to be built on the idea of determining whether or not the person being accused is in fact guilty, and they have a presumption of innocence before that. We have a new system, or the system has changed over time to be built around trying to do everything possible to have the highest number of convictions as possible. That is not the intention. A good prosecutor is not one who gets as many convictions as possible. A good prosecutor is one who helps to determine whether or not there is even a reason to continue prosecuting. The only person there who should have one solid interest is the defense attorney, whose job it is to prove the client's innocence or lack of proof of them being guilty, and barring that, trying to secure the interests of the defendant. And that is what justice looks like. Justice looks like the presumption of innocence, and everyone there in the court working from that presumption of innocence, including releasing any evidence and immediately ceasing to do any continued prosecution of anyone who has any evidence against them that suggests that they did not do it, or at least proves beyond or removes adds reasonable doubt to whether or not they did it.
Well, I would like a minimum of 24 seconds to respond to Spike Cohen.
I will allow 24 seconds.
Will Seth and Willie Fred allow a minimum of 24 seconds to respond?
I can give you 23.
Okay, I can live with 23. So this case happened in the great state of Wisconsin, which is really nearby the great state of Indiana, which I hail from. And, you know, I watched the Netflix documentary, and me and my wife made whoopee all those nights. And it was a good excuse to lie there and make whoopee together. And, you know, I have to say, I came away from this documentary thinking that this man needs a chance that really cute 5'11" tall drink of water who was defending him in the second season. I was really hoping for an opportunity, someone in my cabinet to have me meet her, and maybe we could go out on a blind date. Not so much blind, because dates these days aren't very blind, as most of you know. If you've been on a blind date, these dates, you know, they're pretty much not blind, especially in the age of Instagram and Bumble and Snapchat and various other platforms.
I believe this is way more. That is way more than 23 seconds.
Yeah. Okay.
I would like to give Vice President Pence an additional good solid 16 seconds to explain how he could even do that when he actually refuses to be anywhere with another woman where his wife is not present. Would she be on this date as well?
Well, I thank you for the question. It's not that I'm nervous to answer the question, and it's not that I don't have a canned answer ready to go. It's just that I'd like to thank you for such a good question that was asked, and thank you for Seth and Willie Fred for giving me a platform in which to express my to which I could answer. So I would just like to say that, well, I'm just really glad that Amy Comey Barrett's being sworn in, because I'm going to get to see her every day, and she is cute as a speckled pup, and she is hot as a $2 pistol. In fact, I'd say Amy Comey Barrett is hot as a whole duffel bag of pistols, and I'm going to get to see her every day, and I'm going to get to, well, who knows? There's a Cracker Barrel just down the road from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Maybe we'll get to go there one day for a lunch.
All right, so we are at the end of this here debate process, which means that it is time for everybody's closing statements.
Should we go in order?
We're going to go in order, starting with the legal documents that work for Kamala Harris.
Right.
Well, I'd just like to thank you for the opportunity tonight to debate. And I just want to let the people out there in the trailer park know that a vote for Spike Cohen is a vote literally thrown away. And a vote for Mike Pence is, well, geez, look at him. If bland and opaque had a kid, it would be Mike Pence. I mean, geez, he looks like Race Bannon's crazy cousin. When y'all go into the voting booth this November, just remember, a vote for Kamala Harris is a vote for 3 hots and a cot. It's a vote for safety. No longer will you have to fear, and is what I'm doing illegal? Because everything will be illegal, but at least for all y'all. As you're hauled off to jail, just remember, you're creating jobs for the prison industrial complex. You can hold your head high knowing you're a job generator, whether you're picking up trash on the side of the road or making hand sanitizer in a COVID-filled hellscape. You're contributing to job creation across this great nation. And we'd just sure love to have your vote come November.
Thank you, Mr. or Miss Pile of Documents. Up next, we have The Fly.
There's nothing more a fly loves than a steaming pile of crap, which is why I hung around this debate so long. I just want to tell you, you think you can swat a fly away? You think that you're not going to meet your demise and a fly is going to consume your body? You are wrong. We're going to appear wherever we may appear. Oh, I wish I was a fly on the wall, as the saying is, because nobody ever sees us coming. Maybe we'll manifest as a boot on your head, Maybe we'll manifest as a bottle of corks in the background of your Zoom call. Maybe we'll manifest as a hot young lady folding laundry in the window pane next to the brick behind you on your Zoom call. You never know what a shape-shifting vampire fly is going to be ready to take over the world, baby. So watch your ass.
Thank you, Fly. Up next, we have Vice President Michael Pence.
Thank you, Willie Fred, for the opportunity to go third, given that I'm occupying the White House here in my luxurious kind of Virginia, kind of Maryland home. That whole area in DC is confusing to folks. It's like three states got together and made love and all made DC. But anyway, I'm very, first of all, that fly can piss up a rope. And I really, that fly, that damn fly, which is, it's against my religion to curse. That damn fly can walk into the Gulf of Mexico until water starts to collect around his little snout, and then he should just keep going. And I have restrained myself throughout this entire process because, well, I'm just that good of a guy. And let me just say, too, in terms of party division and party lines, it's kind of cool to be a Democrat when you're 18, 19, rebellious, feeling all neat. But at some point, at that point in your life, it's kind of cool to be a Democrat, I guess. It's almost it's plumb necessary. But I would say that you need to grow the fuck up and
Watch your
become a
language.
Republican.
This is a family drinking show.
Oh, not no more.
Well, I this is only the second time in 2020 I've used the F word, and so I will continue on. It's I don't understand. I've not really moved much from this very spot tonight, so it's very strange why I would be sweaty. I've why am I so very? You know what? Let me tell you something. This is a fly through the body of Mike Pence, and let me tell you, I have whipped his ass. And let me tell you something else.
Fly. You can't have two turns, Fly.
No, Willie Fred, you can piss up a rope too. Because the fly's taking over DC, over all 50 states, intercontinental and otherwise. I'm going to take Mike Pence's conservative, non-abortion voting for ass. And I'm going to fly. You know what? It's a hell of Kamala Harris, because as far as I was concerned, the best Kamala was Kamala, the Ugandan giant.
Okay, all right.
Please.
I usually don't cut off people's closing statements, but I felt like I had to on that one.
I think for someone to come here and take their shirt off is just such a mockery of this and such an embarrassment. I'd like to apologize to all of you for having to witness this, folks. I think we saw a very clear difference for the American people. What the thing. Kamala Harris wouldn't even come here because she was afraid to debate. So instead, she gave sentience to pieces of paper that then lied about her record. That's what you can expect from the Democratic Party. And of course, from the Republican Party, Mike Pence came here, would not answer any questions, and was easily compromised by an insect from hell. And that's what you can expect from the Republican Party. Here's what you can expect from the Libertarian Party. We want you to be free. We want you to have the power and the freedom and the wealth that the Republicans have stolen from you back in your hands where it always belonged. We want you to have control of your life. We want you to have your money back. We want you to be able to decide what your schools look like, what your police departments look like, what your communities look like, what your families look like. You should be free to be able to do this, working together every single day. If you want to see healthcare affordable again, because we get rid of the bureaucracy and red tape that's driven up the cost and made access to care so difficult to get, vote Libertarian. If you want to see an end to the wars and for the troops to come home and the healing to begin, vote Libertarian. If you want to see an end to qualified immunity so that bad actors in government and police departments are held accountable when they infringe upon the rights of the people, vote Libertarian. If you want to see all of the outcomes that come from taking the power back and by living more free, then your only viable vote is for the Libertarian Party. Your only viable vote is for Joe Jorgensen and myself, and for Libertarians running up and down the ballot across this great land. And my last final message that I want to give is to you, the proud, gentle people of Blakely Trailer Park, the nation of Blakely Trailer Park. You deserve the sovereignty that your forefathers and their forefathers and their forefathers promised to each other, and then eventually getting to you. You deserve to have the freedom that you were promised. You deserve to be able to decide for the future of Blakely Trailer Park. You deserve to be able to be the proud nation that you always have been deep down when it really counts. And that is what I see for not just Blakely Trailer Park, but trailer parks across this great land. No longer do you need to be confined to the forced association that has been imposed upon you by the United States government. Finally, in our time, can the trailer parks nations of the whole continent be able to form the kind of countries that you have always wanted to have? That is my solemn promise to you as Vice President of the United States. And finally, I want to speak to whoever put this together. We're going to have a conversation after this. Thank you.
Thank you, Spike.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on, and I appreciate all the candidates. Vice President Pence, I appreciate you for coming on and doing whatever it is that you did, putting all that hairspray on, and Kamala Harris's records. I appreciate you as well. And I'm not sure where Vermin went, but I appreciate Vermin Supreme.
We
as well.
appreciate Vermin. We don't appreciate the Fly, and
yeah, the fly can.
Nor Uncle Alex.
The fly can kiss my tail where it looks like a prune. That's what I have to say to the fly. But I appreciate everybody for sticking around and watching it. We held at a nice 69 viewers the whole time. Boy, that was
nice.
Thank y'all for watching. This has been the second vice presidential debate, but the first vice presidential debate of the Blakely Trailer Park. Good night, and thank you for watching.
So long.
Shoo-wop, shoo-wop. Ooh, shoo-wop, shoo-wop. Shoo-wop, shoo-wop, shoo-wop. Rock lobster.
Ooh, I like that.
Kinda scared me a little.
Do it again.
I tried.